All right, you guys. Like I was saying, the Denouncing Karen documentary is alarming, and I cannot wait to watch the whole thing. The crystal is polished, the china is pristine, the candles are lit, and the nice white lady guests are about to be served some cold, hard truths, baby. And they're going to be served some hard truths by Regina Jackson and Saria Ryo, who launched a movement called Race to Dinner. Okay, the number two to dinner. And this is a woman to inspire white women to confront themselves and acknowledge their own racism and complicity in white supremacy. So there have been a lot of clips of the actual documentary that come out that have been flooding our timelines. Let me know in the comments if you guys have seen any of these. And it's really about having these radical, honest conversations that empower us to have and acknowledge these truths and really understand what is our personal undertaking and responsibility for stopping racism and doing harm to others. Uh, the dinner will remind you of your favorite childhood memory in playing the game Clue. So it's like a big deal. You never really know who is the most dangerous person in the room, because while you might think it's the Donald Trump supporter, it actually can be that quiet liberal yoga teacher who is not ready to face their own realities. So this documentary is, really being considered provocative, but it's having a really honest conversation about race, racism, and our daily role in upholding that. And I encourage everyone to check it out online. Definitely YouTube it. It unfortunately is not available just at the ready. I think I saw a documentary, like a full version of the documentary, probably illegally on YouTube. But I encourage us to wait, you guys, to go see this at a film festival. They have it on their website, and they're going to be in the California area. They have some in Canada. So we are waiting for this to come to, Seattle, to DC, to the East Coast in general, so that we can watch this. But until then, you don't want to miss the preview clips that are out there. I love this. And some of the questions they're asking, Omari, some of these women are, the first question is, raise your hand if you're a racist. Of course, no one raises their hand. The second question they ask is, who would trade their white skin for black skin? And again, that is when the conversation starts boiling, to the point where one Karen even says, well, I just don't know, because I only want to be myself. But I dated a Latin guy who had very dark skin. Honey, just because you're associated with people with dark skin does not make you a non-racist person at your core. What are you talking about? So this is a special, special documentary that we should see, and I cannot wait to watch this.
Yeah, man, Seattle, unfortunately, man, Seattle's that kind of city, right? I've been saying this for as long as we've been on air, that Seattle is the type of city that you have a pretty sizable white population. One, you got a sizable white population that's just cool as hell. You know what I'm
Come
saying?
on.
I don't think they really get enough acknowledgement, right? Because we're always talking about what's wrong. We got a lot of dope, you know what I'm saying, white people who are out here. But let's talk about the other ones. Is that I say all the time, those are the people who are like, man, I voted for Barack. I got Michelle. I went saw Michelle, got her book, got it autographed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they move against things that against black people, and they're really for policies that are anti-black, and it's all cloaked in. Another thing that they've done is they've mastered our language. So you go and you'll sit with a racist white person who's mastered this DEI language. You know what I'm saying? And so they're sitting there talking to you about, you know what I'm saying, and equality and equity and yada yada yada. And then as soon as you leave the room, they're not hiring no black people. They're not hiring this and that. But in the conversation, you're like, hey man, Bob really gets it. You see what he was saying, right? You see what I'm saying? So they've mastered the language, the vernacular, the vocabulary, and ain't changed no actions.
Yeah, you know what? I really feel blessed and humbled to have been raised in a place as great as Seattle because to your point, we have some of the most incredible white people that I ever met and I appreciate having great white allies. And really, I think it's taught me to just be a better human overall by being in such a melting pot of cultures. Um but it also taught me that just because I'm a white woman and have a black son does not mean that I'm going to stand in alignment with Black issues. And, you know, this I think is a great film to help everyone identify what that institution of racism really looks like and what is our own personal role and responsibility when we come a face to it, right? So just because I paid $500 to go see Michelle Obama and I got her book signed doesn't mean that you understand the plight of a woman like Sister Soldier who is writing the coldest winter ever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you understand the story of Winter just as much as you understand the story of Michelle? And there's a really interesting dichotomy in that because once you begin to understand someone like Winter, a young black girl who is really just trying to find her own in the world, then you can have empathy, you can move to say what can we do to bring Winter up because a woman like Michelle Obama is already at the top, baby. You know what I'm saying? She is what every woman strives to be, at least, you know, for the most part. So what I'm saying is that we really want everyone to have the full picture. I think tonight here in the house we were talking about, Willie Lynch, right? And we were having a conversation on race and breaking a slave here in the house tonight because it's just so important for us to not ever forget our history and understand why we have these feelings of institutional racism and to know that they are real and that they are valid and that when we put in the work to dismantle them, that work is not being done in vain. And so I love that there are people like Regina Jackson, okay, calling people to the carpet, baby. Watch out, Karen. Your dinner is being served cold, okay?
Yeah, I mean, it's real interesting, right? I like the whole idea and what they're doing and everything, right? And I think that for us, the biggest shift that we had in the last 12 months, probably less than that, 12 months, is where we've isolated ourselves from this madness out here with these other people. Like if it ain't black, it's like so us personally, I'm not I think this is dope and the art is the art and that's their approach, right? But for us, if we make a documentary or whatever, man, I'm gonna be uplifting some black folks. I'm not spending my time trying to whatever. Man, these white people been doing what they've been doing. We put Converge puts 100% of its focus now on blackness. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And unless there's some story down in City Hall, there's whatever, and you'll find. But also, what's happened is our programming's gotten better, our storytelling's gotten better, and everything else. And I only say that to say that it's like I realized that I could spend all my time down there at City Hall with these lying ass politicians and everything else, yada yada, and calling people out, or I could take that same energy and uplift these young people in our community. I could take that same 1 hour that I might be at City Hall, teach somebody how to use a camera, teach somebody how to do this and that. And so my take on this stuff now is a lot of stuff I'm indifferent because it no longer impacts our life here. You know what I'm saying? Because we just on the blackness. That being said, though, I'm glad she's doing it and it's dope.
Yep. This is dope. And that Regina Jackson is a black woman, alongside what I think is her she's probably like Latino, another brown woman.